can you, as a baseball expert that you are, Red Sox insider, some might say.
Some.
For WEI, Baseball Isn't Boring podcast, national podcast. What is up with Devers? Okay, Bogarts is done. He's gone. We're doing our best to move on. But will the Red Sox sign Devers? Yesterday, more reports that they're making efforts. So I don't know. Tell me.
They're making efforts.
June Lee said they're galaxies apart and all this. So what's the story?
Well, there's a lot to pick through. It comes back to what we've been talking about a lot in the morning, which is how much ownership is going to influence the situation, right? This is what we wait on when it comes to the Red Sox signing players. Ownership in the past, this ownership group has come in at different times and said, hey, you know what? We're not going to finish second. We're going to get the job done. And in the case of Devers, it doesn't seem like there's much room for interpretation. Chaim Bloom came on my podcast and said we're willing to go to reasonable and beyond reasonable. We're going to have to go beyond reasonable. That's how this works because Rafael Devers is not going to move off his number, and nor should he.
What's his number, 300?
It's past 300. I mean, you have to think that. So the reports were that he was asking for 10 at 300, which, by the way, I would have signed up for right then. It's a Machado contract, 26 years old.
Are they worried about his weight?
It's a good question. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a good question, but I don't think they are. At this point, you have to push that aside because this is the last man standing for them, and that's what we keep hearing from them. But it's all talk until you actually do something. And unfortunately for the Red Sox, where you're sitting is there's not a lot of room for wiggle room for interpretation about who's going to win this. Rafael Devers is going to win this battle. He has all the leverage in the world, and he has even more ever in the last month because the free agent market has just gone insane.
Is he pissed that Bogarts is gone too? You think that's part of the equation?
I don't know if he's pissed. It doesn't help, but I don't think at the end of the day, if they offer him the right deal, he's probably going to take it. But the more that you go down this road of slow playing this, it does not help matters. It just doesn't. It doesn't help matters in terms of how much the guy is going to be willing to take even slightly less. It doesn't help matter in terms of the guy actually wanting to be here. That is just common knowledge. And so all of this, what you have to do, if you're the Boston Red Sox, what you have to do, if you're ownership, and I'm not talking about Chaim Bloom, I'm talking about ownership here. This Devers thing is an ownership deal, right? This isn't talking about Kenley Jansen or Yoshida or anybody. This is an ownership deal. If you're ownership, you have to figure out what he wants. You have to present your best, close to what your best offer is. You have to figure out if this is going to work. And then if it doesn't and it's not going to work, then you have to trade him. That is just a reality.
Can you imagine?
I know. And at every turn, Chaim Bloom has said, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. This is different than the Mookie situation. That's not going to happen. But if you cannot let this. We found out that you could not let Xander Bogaerts get to free agency, which I think back in April, if they knew what this market was going to be, they would be insane if they thought that they could actually win this battle in free agency.
Yeah.
Now you know what the landscape is. You know what baseball is. So you cannot let this guy get to free agency. And if he's not going to get a deal done, then what's the alternative? You certainly can't just have him play and let him walk.
Oh, it is scary.
Yeah.
Shine, bigger deal if Devers leaves or Pasta without a new contract, without a contract extension?
I think it's a bigger deal if Pasta leaves just because I think it is harder to replace a guy like Pasta than it is to replace a guy like Devers.
Who would they replace Devers with?
I mean, I don't have a name for you, but
I would disagree with that because I think that with Devers, it's not only about, you're right. I mean, in terms of the actual production, where there's only X amount of guys on the ice, and you have 9 guys on with the Red Sox. You don't run isolations for third baseman, and you don't have penalty shots for third baseman. I understand that, but the impact that he has on the perception of the franchise as we sit here right now is more impactful.
Oh, sure. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I from a team building perspective, though, when you're talking about the hard cap that is hockey and the amount of money you would have to pay David Pastrnak, whereas in baseball, as the Mets are showing you, is if you're willing to open up the wallet, or as Dave Dombrowski showed you, if you're willing to empty out the farm system, you can acquire just about anybody at any time.
One of the things about the Red Sox right now, which I've always pushed back against and say, hey, this is maybe people don't want to come here, whatever. But there is this vibe. You've had too many guys now where you either fell short in terms of offering the money, or guys have gone elsewhere, and now you have it leaking out about how the Bogaerts negotiations went, and you have all this Devers narrative. There is going to be, ultimately, this is going to pile up to guys how they view coming to Boston.
Yeah, I think Devers is more important based on that, exactly what you're laying out.
Well,
I mean, Boston would be crushing.
You have to show you're going to do something more than Trevor Story at some point. And to this point,
and Yoshida was a good signing, but
yeah, but it was, first of all, you look at that deal, and the reason that they valued him even to that point was because he was leveraged for Bogaerts. Like, that was part of the value of doing
Story. You mean?
Yeah, Story.
Oh, Story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I meant Yoshida, who they just signed. The outfielder.
We don't know. I mean, okay, sure.
Good leadoff hitter, good contact guy.
Listen, no one scouted
good company man here.
No one scouted Japan more than you.
I have.
Okay, you're a big Kenley Jansen guy.
Put a pin in that. We'll get back to the.
Oh, thank you. Oh, there you go.